yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Bluesfantv. Big shout out to everyone that's been part of the family. We're just gonna be talking about what's going on in between the players, international break, and a lot of things is happening right now at Chelsea FC. Unbelievable scene, unbelievable. Honestly, I was saying let's go on international break. Let everybody freshen up, let the player get some win in their countryside and come with that sort of big energy, and we can move on from there. We can start winning games, and regardless of what is happening in the football club. But unbelievable, guys, unbelievable. I think it started with an interview with Enzo Fernandez, and it get worse. It get worse, worse, worse. Then move to Cucurella and move back to Enzo Fernandez, relating himself to Real Madrid. You know, Cucurella saying, he's just saying his mind and whatever, and is everything is getting heated at the moment, bro. Let's talk about this. What's your own opinion on what's going on in Chelsea, Casey?
Players are fed up. It's just as simple as that. Players are fed up. Players are now seeing the project for what it is a bunch of BS, is a bunch of lies. And players are calling it out. And it's about time that players were calling it out, because the fans can only call it out for so long before before the board start to listen. But when you got players calling it out, then that's when the board will really start to stand up. First thing I have to say is I highly, highly respect Enzo and Cucurella for speaking up. We've needed players to speak up for time, and finally we've actually got two players with a backbone to call this project out and to call it out for what it is. They've literally said it for what it is. This is a project that's supposed to win. This is a project that's supposed to dominate English football, apparently. But the way that they're running it, it's quite clear that they're not running it to win games. They're not running it to win trophies. They're just running it so they can make a profit at the end of it. And then they sell on the club to someone else, probably to one of their American buddies. And then it's just a recycle of the whole thing. So it's fantastic that Enzo and Cucurella are calling out this out. It's fantastic that they're saying it for what it is. Um, People are obviously upset with how the way Enzo's gone about it, but respectfully, I'm sorry, but he was one of the first players to sign for this project. He could have gone anywhere else after that World Cup. He could have gone to the Madrids, the Barcelonas, the Man Cities, but he chose us. He has had to endure through 6 managers. He's had to endure through terrible times, terrible recruitment, terrible squad building, has had to play with terrible teammates. And what, you expect him to sit there and be like, oh yeah, it's all good, it's all good. Let him call it out. And let's be real, if he didn't really like this club, he didn't really appreciate this club, he would have been calling for a move a year or 2 years into his contract. But he stayed with us for almost 4 years because he believed that the project was supposed to go somewhere. He's actually bought into this project. He's someone that I truly believe has 110% dedicated himself to this project, but they quite clearly aren't respecting him and his wishes to win. Same with Cucurella. Cucurella has bought into this project, but quite clearly these guys have been straight up lying to them. So it was going to come down to it. It was eventually going to come down to it, and I'm happy and I'm glad that Enzo and Cucurella are starting to call this out and are starting to make people realize that these fans are not just talking for the sake of talking. It's not like we're being delusional. These players are thinking the exact same way that we're thinking, which is this board and this project is useless.
And just to add on to that, what we must not forget is it's not like as if they're the ones who started this. Remember when Kai Havertz decided to ditch us and go join Arsenal? He called it out, saying he's had enough, like it's turned into a joke. He didn't say that when Roman Abramovich was in charge, because he knew when he walked in, he was walking in to win trophies and to make a name of himself. And then he realized that these are a bunch of clowns. They don't know what they're doing. So he called it out, and he's moved across to our rivals. Now the only two players who have won a World Cup with Enzo Fernandez, and did he win Copa America? So he must have done. And then Marc Cucurella has recently come off a Euro success. These are the only two players that I can think of that have got any credibility of how to win games and how to continue being a success in the field that they're in. They've got every right to call us out. They've got every right to call us out, and I think I want more players to grow a backbone and start calling out this project for what it is. It is a shambles. They have ruined everything. They've ruined the women's team. They've ruined the youth team, and they've absolutely butchered the first team. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And I do not blame Enzo Fernandez for wanting to move to Real Madrid and Marc Cucurella to move to Barcelona. I really, really, really don't. So they've got every right to be pissed off, to call out the board for what they are, for the clowns that they are. And I think more players should follow suit. And yeah, let it keep coming. I want there to be more. And I don't agree with what Liam Rosina has said, saying, oh, he shouldn't be really playing the, what is it, the game against the Port Vale and Man City. It's just a sanction. Well, what message does that bring? He's like, all right, cool. He says something a little bit untowards. We'll only punish him for 2 games. He should be technically punished for the rest of the season. Like I said, under Roman Abramovich, would you even, if say someone like Michael Essien, for example, criticised the regime, you wouldn't even see him play for Chelsea ever again. You're like, World Cup around the corner. Who gives a shit? Shut your mouth. Off you go. You won't see him ever again. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, good on them. Good on. I agree, Casey. Good
Yeah,
on Marco Correa. Good on
honestly,
Enzo Fernandez. And I want more players to do the same
yeah.
thing.
Honestly, I do agree with you. I think for the past few days, this is when I'm in my own opinion, this is when I'm talking to the real Chelsea fan, you know, because I've seen a lot of delusional comments online, and I'm like, what are these people Chelsea fan? You know what I'm really confused about now, because when you look at the internet, a lot of people now are saying no one is bigger than the club. This is
And
absolutely shambles.
man.
This is
And
absolutely
yeah,
crazy statement
It's
from them.
gaslighting. It's
it's
gaslighting.
that's
We are up there scheduling a protest. We are up there saying blue call out. And a player like Enzo Fernandez put himself all out there to sacrifice for the fans, for the football club, to say the facts. And you guys are saying no player is bigger than the club. Does what he's saying really related to being bigger than the club? Because I don't really understand this Chelsea fan. People are delusional.
I,
You know, we're fighting all the cost to chase these guys away, to let them change what so-called their project. And the players that love this football club, that is playing for the badge, like you said, we convinced Enzo Fernandez to come to Chelsea. I know we tried like a couple of 2 transfer windows to bring him. He has a lot of options to go somewhere else, but he decided to come to Chelsea, and they lied to him. You're going to be part of the project. We're going to sign you. We're going to win trophies and all these sort of things, and that's why he came to Chelsea. And now that things are not working on the promise anymore, he has the right. He has the bloody right to say whatever he wants. And don't forget, I said it to one of the Chelsea fans. I said, look, let's all remember that it's the time to renew Enzo Fernandez's contract. I suggest there's something fishy coming out. I think these guys have present something ridiculous to this guy. Because remember, Rhys James has just signed a contract. He had to reduce his reduce his salary, his wages, just to remain in Chelsea. I feel that this sort of stupid project is being presented to Enzo Fernandez as well. And this is the only way he can show his anger, you know, to the board. But it's so ridiculous to see people saying, "Oh, this guy, nobody is bigger than the club, whatever, whatever." Should we be saying that as a Chelsea fan when we're in the middle of protesting and we saw a guy, really protesting for us? In my own opinion, I don't see the Madrid move happening. He knows that it is not going to happen. Madrid is not in a situation to spend that ridiculous amount of money on a calm. You know what I'm saying? They've got too much of talent player. They've got Bellingham, Adagula, Valverde. They've got loads of options down there. But I think, in my own opinion, it's doing all this just to show or just to protest against the ownership. But now seeing Chelsea fan, yeah,
yeah. Sorry to cut you off. I have to disagree with the part that he doesn't want Madrid. He wants Madrid. He
yeah,
wants Madrid. And, like let's just be so real, yeah. And I think this is what I'm saying. There's a lot of delusional fans, and I think there's a lot of delusional people in general.
yeah,
Real Madrid is the biggest footballing club in the world.
yeah,
It's the biggest footballing institution of all time.
Yeah.
Real Madrid is Real Madrid. They grew up on Real Madrid dominating competitions. Now, if you as a football player has a chance to go to Real Madrid, you're going to take that opportunity 100 times out of 100 times.
100%. 100%.
No matter what club comes to you, even if it's your boyhood club. If your boyhood club is Real Madrid, then okay, even better. But if your boyhood club comes to you, but Real Madrid are coming and calling, you're going to take the Real Madrid job. That's why I've always said, if any player ever left our club to go to Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, those big clubs, I can't have any hard feelings towards them. I'll be like, I completely understand, especially with Real Madrid. Real Madrid is the best of the best. Only a few players can ever say, I have worn the whites of Real Madrid. So if Real Madrid are interested, which they are, let's keep a spade a spade. They are very much interested. I think they've even they had a two-man list between Rodri and Enzo, and they're prioritizing Enzo over Rodri. And remember, Florentino Perez, we forget he's a businessman. So when he signs a player, he's also signing them for their business potential.
Yeah.
Enzo Fernandez is one of the biggest players in Argentina. He's probably on a lot of billboards and is on a lot of adverts. He can make a lot of money from Enzo Fernandez. There's a reason why he pushed hard to sign David Beckham back in the day, because David Beckham made him a lot of money. You get what I'm saying? From outside of football. So with Enzo Fernandez, his marketing potential that he has, his following on social media, even his missus has a very, very big following on social media. She's quite a big influencer back in Argentina.
Yeah.
He is going to push for that deal. He will pay that money. Now, do I think we're going to get 100 mil? I highly doubt it. I think it will be around 80 to 90. But if it's 80 to 90, we take that money and we run and we let him walk. Like I said again, I've got no hard feelings for Enzo Fernandez. I respect for what I have 100%, 110% respect for what he's done. And this is what I'm saying. And you said correctly about those fans. Those fans, any fan that's angry or that's calling out Enzo Fernandez, or he's saying that he's acting like he's bigger than the club, I'm sorry, you're not a fan. And these are the fans that I've been calling out since the PSG game. You're not a fan of Chelsea. And the day that Bluco leaves, leave with them. Because if that's going to be your mentality to a player calling out problems with this football club, and you're going to get upset and hurt about it, and you're going to be like, oh, no one's bigger than the club, and oh, Enzo should have not done that, then quite clearly you are an enabler of this rubbish that's performing. You are supporting Bluco, you're supporting Igbali, you're supporting Winstanley, you're supporting Stewart. Don't come to me with the whole, oh no, I'm Chelsea this, I'm Chelsea that rubbish, because if you're a proper Chelsea, you'd be standing up and applauding what Enzo and Cucurella are doing. They are literally on our side. They're literally, in a way, kind of saying, yeah, let's go with the protest. Yeah, I'm 110% all for the protest. So anyone that's against them, anyone that's calling them out, anyone that's angry with them, I think you're an absolute embarrassment and you're not a fan. Just say you're not a fan. Just say that you support Bluco. Just say that you support Bluco. I'll respect you more if you came out and been honest and just say you support Bluco than lying and saying that you're a Chelsea fan, because you ain't no Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
If you're angry with what Enzo has said, yeah, you ain't no Chelsea fan. So don't come after fans that are supporting Enzo, and don't come after Enzo if you don't agree with it. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's a travesty that we actually have some fans that are against this. That we actually have some fans that are against players finally calling things out for what it should be. The first person that should have really been doing this is Reece James. Reece James should have been doing this, and that's my problem with him. He signed this new 5-year deal thinking that, yeah, things are going to change stupidly, but common sense should tell you that these men are never going to change, and he hasn't called them out. I expect him as the captain to call this out. And going back to the Rosenior thing, suspending Enzo, remember, this isn't Rosenior.
Nah, it's not. We don't.
True.
No.
There you
Yeah.
go,
It was
true.
Igbali that suspended him. Igbali, those guys, they hate bad media. Ask the Strasbourg fans, because I've been watching a couple of I've been watching Eunice Talks Football with Johnny Minerals and Chelsea Fan TV, and they've been speaking with Strasbourg fans, and they've made it very, very clear these guys hate media. They hate anything going into the media that makes them look bad. So it was Bluco. It was not Liam Rosenior. People are saying, oh, Liam Rosenior has the balls to... No, it was not Liam Rosenior. It was Bluco that done it. And guess what they done as well? They tried to paint out Enzo Fernandez like a bad teammate. They tried to paint him
Yeah.
out as
Yeah,
villain,
yeah.
as this troublemaker, the same way that they tried to do with Enzo
Enzo
Maresca.
Maresca as well, yeah.
And people and fans are still falling for this. That's the thing that just hurts my head, is that fans are still falling for this PR BS. When will you wake up and smell the coffee and realize that none of this is true? That this is all blue code that they're doing to try and save their skins and their backside. Like, it's a complete and utter lie. And you know what? Yeah, even if he was calling out the players, even if he was cussing out the players, even if he was getting in the locker room, it again further goes to show that, yeah, this man has a standard of winning. Yeah, this man is a winner. Yeah, this man actually has the standards of Chelsea. And if he was playing back then with Terry and Lampard and those guys, he would have fitted in absolutely fine into their culture.
I agree.
This mentality.
Yeah.
But if these players, if it comes out true and these players are upset about it, I want them named and shamed. I want every single player that has a problem with Enzo Fernandez calling out these players for standards. I want them named and shamed, and I want them sold. I couldn't give two flying monkeys who it be. From Cole Palmer, if it was Cole Palmer, if it was Caicedo, if it was Pedro, if it was Net, if it was Subject 7, Subject 9, Subject 4, whoever is against Enzo Fernandez, calling them out for poor performances, I want them named and shamed, and I want them sold, because they are also enabling this rubbish that's happening at this club.
Thank you, Casey, for bringing it back. That it was not Liam Rossini who did it. Thank you for reminding me. It's not Liam Rossini who's done this at all. It was definitely a Blue Co cover up.
I forgot as well, yeah.
So thank you for that. Yeah, I agree with everything that Casey said. I think what we need to remember is when Roman Abramovich first came into this club, he identified players that were the spine and backbone of this team. Now, we've already talked about the John Terrys, your Frank Lampards. He kept them as the spine. And then with it, he added on to players like your Carvalhos, your Makalelis, and then Drogba's, and then all of your little engine room there and then. So he identified the backbone. This new ownership should have identified that the backbone of our team back then was Reece James. It was still Ben Chilwell. It still had Kante. It still had, who else was there? Sorry, Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher. Okay, these were the backbone of our team, and he sold all of them. They've all fucked off. And Conor Gallagher didn't want to fuck off. He got told to fuck off. Okay.
No, but let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be real. He was never Chelsea standard, respectfully.
But
let's
he can still be in that team. He can still be a very good.
Yeah, he can be there as an assistant manager, but I'll be real, as a player, I personally didn't want him around. Like, he wasn't there in Champions League winning season.
I would rather have him than having Santos or having Darren Esugo. Because
no way.
Look, the reality is these guys are playing for the badge. When someone is playing for the badge, it's crazy. The way they fight.
Play for the badge, but at least have some skill. Conor Gallagher, I listen. I didn't want to go there because I understand how much people love Conor Gallagher. But let's be real. Let's be real with ourselves. Does Conor Gallagher get into any of our Chelsea teams in the past?
Probably not. Probably.
There you go. So listen. Conor Gallagher wasn't even part of the Champions League winning squad. Let's remember that. Let's remember when
he was on loan. He was on loan.
When he came back from his loan at Crystal Palace, he got a red card in his first game. Thomas Tuchel wanted to give him a chance because he'd done well at Crystal Palace. Got a red card in his debut, and Thomas Tuchel never played him again. Do you remember that? And he only started playing once Pochettino came around. Tuchel, a world-class manager, elite manager, said, "Nah, this guy ain't good enough." So if Thomas Tuchel said this guy ain't good enough, then we should have known from right then and then that he was not world class. I'm sorry, I know I should have not gone down there, but every single time someone tells me, "Oh, we should have not sold Conor Gallagher," Conor Gallagher was a good player, it kind of annoys me because it's like, bruv, this guy will not make the Man City squad right now. He would not make the Arsenal squad right now. He would not make the Liverpool squad, not even the Manchester United squad, not even the Chelsea squad. He wouldn't even make our squad.
I think he's even on the bench for Spurs. He's not starting.
Exactly, and they're about to get relegated. So, Manaz, I agree with you about the backbone, but let's remove Conor Gallagher out of that backbone because he was never part of that backbone. The backbone, as you said quite clearly, was Reece James, Chilwell, Kante, and Mason Mount. Sorry for interrupting you, but I just had to get that out of the way.
That's fair.
Carry on.
So anyway, he got rid of the backbone. He got rid of all of the backbone except for Reece James, and then, like I mentioned earlier, Kai Havertz. He was the one who first started off and kicking off and said, "I've had enough of this. I'm gonna go to Arsenal." He's fucked off. Enzo Fernandez is the only one. Like I said, he's got a World Cup to his name. He expects standards. He wants winning. He wants to be fighting on major European trophies and Premier League titles. He's just not in that conversation. He never will be under Chelsea. Remember in the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool when he got so wound up that Liverpool fans were cussing him, and he turned around to have a little spark with one of them. That's just the kind of mentality he is. He came into Chelsea thinking that we're going to carry on with this project under Roman Abramovich, but under new leadership. That hasn't happened. That hasn't materialized. He has every right to call out these new ownership for the clowns that they are. And I am so happy he has done that. No players bigger than a club? What a load of bollocks. I don't agree with that because we've had loads of players back in the past where, like I said, they were captains of the national team. They all galvanised and they won us trophies in the past. We should be having big personalities in the club. We should be a club that is feared across Europe. We're not that club anymore. We're a banter club. And if there's anyone who's got any right to have a say about how badly we're being thrown into the mud, Enzo Fernandez is one of them. Marc Cucurella is another one of them. Reece James should have been another one of them. And I want more and more players to follow what Marc Cucurella and Enzo Fernandez are doing because they're the only ones who give a damn about where this club should be going. And if they're not matching their energy, their expectations, and their drive for success, then fuck it. There needs to be more action. Like I said to you, Kasi, how bad of an ownership do you have to be uniting French and English fans together to protest against you? Do you understand how much of a terrible ownership do you have to be to unite both English and French? We can't stand each other, and you've united us against you guys. All right. Under Abramovich, like I said, we've only had one protest, and that was because we were going to join the European Super League. Nothing football related. Under this tenureship, we've had at least 2 or 3. We're going to have another 4th one with new fans. And like I said, they're trying to link River Plate into their business model. They're not going to take over them, but they want them part of their business model. I dare them to piss off the Argentinian fans because I'll tell you something right now. I would shit my pants if I see a blood full of angry Argentinian fans coming over to Stamford Bridge saying, "Fuck your nonsense, we want you guys out," because they will have them out. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
They'll find their home. They
Yeah.
will find where they
Thank you so much, guys. Honestly, the opinion was really, really, helpful, and I think, the Chelsea fan would really watch this video. Very, very much important. I think the ideology of, following the trend of no one is bigger than the club. If you watch this video, I think things should be clear to you. We should be moving in the right direction. Whatsoever is going on, we'll still have to get this blue co out. That's the mission. That's the objective right now. So, and if you want to get them out, we've got to support everything that is gonna, support the trend. So, guys, thank you very much for joining, for sharing your opinion.
Bro,
Uh,
before we go, can I just
yeah,
make one little point because
yeah,
it's not been confirmed or anything like that. It's
yeah,
still on the atmosphere of the fake news
yeah,
thing. But if there is substance to be believed that Roman Abramovich may have just won his case against the UK government, again, nothing has been set in stone or anything like that. But the fact that if he has done, obviously, I'm sure the UK government will appeal that decision, of course. But if he has won that sanction against him, could there potentially be a chance of that he returns? I hope so. I doubt it, but I think it's an important point to highlight because it could be big news coming up
Well,
and moving forward. But it
that's
is a rumor, not something definitive or substantive.
it would, as you said, it would be quite hard for him to come back because obviously a
Mm,
sale of a football
mm,
club is something quite big and it will need to go through various parties. And I think the UK government is one of them, if I'm not
mm,
mistaken. And there's no way that the UK government would approve of
yeah,
that sale.
mm.
No chance. So we can deem it as virtually impossible. I mean, as you said, I'd love for him to come back and we'll welcome him with open arms. But yeah, that's big news. And I also want to just say something quickly on I think it's the 18th of April, if I'm not mistaken. the game against United, we have the protest. I urge every single Chelsea fan that is in London or is an hour away from London or even 2 hours away from London, or if you can turn up, please, 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 please turn up for this protest. I mean, as Manaz said, we've got French fans coming over in their numbers, booking flights, hotels, and they're even having to rush back for the next day for their football game. You know, that is serious
Yeah.
dedication. The fact that they're coming in to support us and teach us how to do a proper protest, that is serious dedication. And like I said again, massive thanks and shout out to the Strasbourg fans. The OU, and I think
Agreed.
one of the ways that we can appreciate them is by turning up. Every single Chelsea fan needs to be there. And if you are not there, then it quite clearly shows where you stand in this project. It shows that you're an enabler. It shows that you support these people. And the day that they leave, because they will leave, I urge you to leave with them. But if you hate where this project is going, if you hate the direction of this project, turn up in your numbers. Turn up, turn up, turn up, and let's really make a statement and get these guys out of here as soon as possible. Because again, they don't need because again, they're trying to make it seem that it's 10 years before they can actually sell, but they can sell before then.
Yeah.
So more pressure that's applied onto them, the higher the probability is that they'll feel forced to sell. So if you can turn up, please turn up in your numbers, and let's make some noise, and let's make the message clear that Blue Co, we do not trust you and you need to get out of this football club.
Right. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that one. So big ups to Casey, big ups to Minaz. And that's, a very, very beautiful one, very, very educative one. Please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on to the next one. Peace and love. Up the
Thank you.
Chelsea.
Up the
Up
Chelsea,
the
up the
shelves.
Chelsea.